Kick your shoes off, take a load off. Don't go nowhere till the show's off. Oh, you know it's gonna be a movie when you got Cletus Cassidy on your TV. Yeah, already know Mr. Funny Man. Coming to you and making you laugh again. Started off on the radio, now we got the Cletus Cassidy Show. Funny Man, coming to you and making you laugh again. Started off on the radio, now we got the Cletus Cassidy Show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition. I'll see you in the morning. If y'all don't know that I got this show on the 26th by now, I don't even know what to tell you. We've put it up there every day. It's been there every day. Bam, there you go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to a new edition of See You in the Morning. I am, of course, your host, Cletus Cassidy. Excited about being here with y'all on another fantastic day. Today is Wednesday, which has a special connotation on the show. So you got to be prepared for that. If you know anything about the show, Wednesdays is our hunch days. We got a hunch before lunch. Get it in the middays. What you got to do on this show. Hunch before lunch is all about making somebody feel good, even if that somebody's just you. And we also explore some things that are important to the adult population. So we're excited about that. Excuse me. If this is your first time hearing this, you're about to experience something so cold. If you have watched this before and you chose to come back, you found it not robbery to watch again, I thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate that. So we're going to get into the show today. The only constant on this show is the fact that I speak to everybody in the morning. If I ain't sleep with you, I'm going to speak with you. The first three people that speak back to me get the mythical medals. They get the M&Ms is what they get. So I get to hit them with those, and you can hold on to those. You can have those in your memory banks. You can say, I remember the time I won the gold medal, not in the Olympics, but on the See You in the Morning. Will it matter to anybody? No. Will you get discount coffee? No. Will anybody even care? Generally speaking, no. But you'll know that you got it, and that's all that matters. So coming in this morning with the bronze medal is the law firm and realtor of Jackie Brighton Riddick. Good morning, Jackie Brighton Riddick. Good morning. Happy hump day is what she calls it. Coming in getting the silver, it's going to be Marche Trouble Copeland. Good morning. And winning the gold today, Melissa M. Kuther, like Luther, is in the building. Don't you remember you told me? Melissa Kuther in the building. So good morning. The gold goes to Melissa. Silver to Marche. Bronze to Jackie Brighton Riddick. Also here this morning is my niece Brianna. Good morning. Dolores is here. Eartha. Kim Cat Thomas Jones is here. Franita, Katrina, Steve, the Pope, Calvin J. Hill is in the building. Candy Hainsworth, good morning. Cynthia, good morning. Lisa, I have a date with Lisa is in the building. My man, Big Snoop, is in the building. Wilberta is here. Patricia is in here. Courtney is in the building. Ida, Kim Tucker is in the building. Lasha Unda, straight out of Africa. Courtney with the Go Rangers. Go Rangers. Hey, she's on it. She knows the World Series is about to start. Okay, all right, Go Rangers. You're that one person that cares about baseball. So we got to go ahead and give it to you. In case you didn't watch last night on my sports show, Second Give comes on every Tuesday night at 8:30. Myself and some amazing co-hosts. They're out there. The World Series is about to start. We thought the Philadelphia Phillies would be there, but they're not. It's going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Arizona Diamondbacks against the Texas Rangers. Courtney says she's from Dallas and she loves her Texas Rangers. All right. All right. Well, they're in the World Series. They got a chance to win it all. Most of America doesn't care about baseball anymore. But you know what? You are that person. You care. And it's going to be Rangers versus Diamondbacks. I'm not 100% sure how that intrigues the rest of the world. Baseball is such a fickle sport in this country. Those aren't the balls people care about. Basketball, football. Football first. I think the most popular sports in America are going to be NFL football, followed by college football. And then everybody else can kind of fight regionally. It depends on what region you're in. If you're in the Northeast and Midwest, you care about hockey. You know, they care about hockey up there. Everywhere else, nobody cares about hockey. Maybe then baseball can slide in. Maybe college basketball is up there. Denzel saying the Rangers and the Cowboys winning the championship in the same year is going to be crazy. Yeah, it's going to be delusional. That's a delusion. The Rangers might have a chance. The Rangers might have a chance. The Cowboys, absolutely no chance. Coach said I support any team from Dallas in whatever sport. Okay, I get to you. Hey, you live there. You live there. Dallas is a great city. I've been to Dallas. I know what it is. I understand Dallas is Dallas. You know, Dallas be Dallasing. The NBA season started yesterday. Y'all got the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks are gonna be a good basketball team. I think it'll be good enough to win a championship. Doubt it. But other than that, no. Texas is live anyway. Texas is live anyway. We don't even have. First of all, let me just tell y'all this. Then I'm gonna get into the regular parts of the show. Houston, yes, Jason. We know you lived in Dallas for 13 years. Dallas is an amazing. Texas, first of all, is its own country. Texas is its own country. Texas is just ridiculous. They don't even matter. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Texas is its own country. Texas has its own rules. There's things that happen in Texas that don't happen anywhere else. Texas is huge. Houston, now Dallas is big. Houston is ridiculous. Houston is a metropolis. Houston, it makes no sense. They got 6 or 7 different downtowns in Houston. Houston is ridiculous. We drove on the interstate, leaving Houston, I think going to Dallas. Houston, we were on the interstate in Houston. I'm talking about on the interstate, getting it on the interstate. I'm talking about getting it on the interstate for 2 hours. I fell asleep, woke up, I was like, yo, where we at? They're like, we still in Houston. Houston is ridiculous. There's no sense in Houston at all. It never rains in Southern California, and there's no way out of Houston. Houston is ridiculous as a city, a record label, and a crew. If you ever get lost in Houston, you just lost. People live in Houston and never, ever, ever see the other parts of Houston. You be like, where you at? Houston got 5, 6 downtowns. They be like, I'm in downtown Houston. They be like, which part? The part with the mall, the part with the stadium. Like, what part of downtown Houston are you in? Houston makes no sense. I can take my small city of Portsmouth and fit that in Houston 475 times. Now, according to most of the time, men are really excited about seeing somebody post that. But when we're talking about Houston, it's a different story. Completely different story. So we're in here. That's that. I'm gonna get into our topic of conversation today. I gotta go ahead and let everybody know. Last night played my first pickleball match. I'm in a pickleball league. This league is a lot different than any other pickleball league that I played in. Now I know a lot of y'all are gonna be saying, "What is pickleball?" It has nothing to do with pickles. Well, there are balls, and so it fits the Wednesday motif. It's becoming one of my favorite sports to play. Football is overall my favorite sport. That's the first thing. Pickleball is my favorite sport without question. Oh man, thank you now for listening. The young kids like it, and I know I'm winning. People don't know what pickleball is. It sounds like something that old white people play, and the answer is yes, that's what it is. But I've gotten into playing pickleball. It's basically tennis for those who can't play tennis. It's basically lazy people tennis, play with a ping pong. It's my favorite sport to play at this point. Football is still my favorite sport. No way I'm playing football anymore. The last time I played in a Thanksgiving tournament, I played a Thanksgiving flag football tournament. I was hurt until New Year's Eve. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I was just completely sore until New Year's Eve. I didn't realize all that your body has to go through in order to play a successful game of football. I ain't got it. I'll play softball a lot. But softball just doesn't get the respect. People laugh at you when you play softball, especially people who play real baseball. If you tell a real baseball player that you play softball, they be like, "Oh, so you're in the Special Olympics." That's basically that's basically how they feel about you. They feel like you're a special Olympian if you play. And I'll go ahead and grab some. I got games next Tuesday. I'll record some of it, let y'all get vision of me playing pickleball. But they pretty much feel like you're a special Olympian if you're playing softball. But I enjoy playing. Just a lot of running. I'm honest about my softball ability. I can hit, I can catch. I usually end up pitching. I pitch well. But I'm telling y'all now, it's not gonna be a lot of effort put out for me. It's a single or a home run. That's the only two things I'm giving you. I'm gonna run the first base, and that's it. After I get the first base, y'all better send in a pinch runner. Y'all send somebody else in. I'm gonna get the first base, throw my hands up. I surrender all. It becomes gospel music. I surrender all. I surrender all. So right now I'm playing in a league in Portsmouth. This is the first league I've ever been in where you only play one game a night. Normally you play best 2 out of 3, and then you play 2 matches. They were like, "No, dog, we ain't got time. You get in, you play one game." So last night was the first game. I'm playing in a co-ed league. My partner's name is Karen, actually, but she's not. She's so Karen and I are in there, and we took 2 losses last night. We started the season off with 2 L's, like Cool J. So we started the season off with 2 L's like Cool J, but we played at Portsmouth Sportsplex. Guys, ever want to come out there, check out some pickleball action Tuesday night starting at 6 o'clock. Starting at 6 o'clock. Now, Keisha, it's not me. I prefer to play the 2 out of 3, only because the first game, especially when you're playing against people you never played against, that's the game that you kind of figure out how they play, whatever, and then you come back. But this one, they were like, "No, we play one game, and then we just that's it. Ain't nobody got time. We play one game, and then we take a 45-minute break in between." I was like, I don't know how that works, but such is life. So that's that. I'm trying to see. Now we can get into why Marche is here. Marche doesn't come on the show for any other reason but for Wednesdays. This is why Marche is here. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, those are just shows. But Wednesday is her wheelhouse. Yesterday, we discussed, we pondered the question. The question was pondered. If your significant other comes to bed all natural, if they come to bed all natural, with no, there goes Pastor Shy. They come to bed all natural with no inhibitants, no condemnation, and they come to bed just ready. Does that mean you got a green light? Give me the green light. Is that what that means? That was the question asked, and I saw some varying answers, and some of those were frustrating. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Some of them were very frustrating. I felt like we've got a negative connotation of men and what men are and what men do. Because one of the comments happened to be men don't need any type of anything. Men just ready, period. It just means men can come in and come and go, basically. That was basically the term used. And I wanted to fight for men. I wanted people to know men have feelings too. I don't want to just come from me because I can't come and tell y'all anything because I've never experienced, this, virginity is rough. I can't speak from a place of knowledge. So I'm trying to find some people to come in and speak from a place of knowledge to see, do men need to be romance? Ladies, are y'all missing the point? Do men need to feel loved as well? Ladies, I think there should be more to it for men. See, that's the whole thing. You see what that? Look at that. Men are so easy. It don't take much. I disagree. I completely and utterly disagree. I think you got to make the man feel like somebody. I feel like you gotta make him feel like, hey, you're somebody too. And I want the men in here. Jason says from 35 and up. Young guys don't care. It's basically what Jason said. Young guy trained to go. But a man, I I think you gotta do it. Now I got my good friend Pastor Shy here. Usually he's in the car. I don't know what happened today, man. I don't know if he took off of work, man, or he's worked from home. Maybe him and his wife are taking a midday. Maybe they take him Wednesday to Wednesday. I love it. That's fantastic. We should have got her in here too. We could have promoted y'all amazing show, Dope Marriage. But let me bring my brother Pastor Shy in here, man. We gonna talk it up today. Host of Dope Marriage, of course, with his amazing wife. How
What up,
you doing, man?
what up, family? How you doing today, sir? Good to see you,
Man,
man.
I'm just out here trying to figure this thing called life out, brother. I'm 2 steps away from it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, I'm going in a little bit late today, man. So I took some extra time. So I figured I'd get, chill out today. Normally I'm in the car, taking my first break to do this, but now I ain't got to rush back to work, so we can talk a little bit. How about that?
There we go. Talk to me, but first of all, let's get your credentials. Not only I know it starts with Pastor Shy because that does say that you're a pastor.
Uh-huh.
Shy is actually a name. It's not it's not an adjective. It's not like you going by a pseudonym. You're not like a rapper. Call me Pastor Shy. Uh,
Right.
that's actually your real name. Um, so let them know. Credential yourself
Yeah.
real quick
Yeah.
because you got an amazing.
So listen, yeah, Pastor Shy is short for Pastor Sharon Richardson. Of course, pastor an amazing church in Jersey City. On top of that, my wife and I, Rebecca Richardson, we've been doing marriage counseling probably for 20 to 25 years. More, been married 30 years. Actually had a radio show about 12 years ago entitled Rated R for Relationships. Shut it down, but now we relaunched it with a new brand called Marriage is Dope, right? So we have a podcast that's now airing every Monday on YouTube and Facebook, 7:30. It's on the Inspiration Network every Thursday, man. And so God is just doing some amazing things. But we've been counseling marriages, we've been counseling single people, right? For quite some time. And so we've gotten to learn a lot about relationships. And of course, sex is a big, big issue, big topic in any successful or non-successful relationship.
And so that's crazy because and we've had this discussion before, especially from you being a pastor. If you're just a sinner like Marche, we expect that to be important, right? But
Right,
when we start talking about pastor and in the church, it's almost a taboo subject, right? It's
right,
almost like the church acts like it never happens. There's babies in church, it's people pregnant in church, it's marriages getting broken up, but they never discuss it in church. I can really put on one hand a number of pastors that I've ever heard be like, hey, here's an important part of your marriage is that
right.
y'all got to get in there. And like the great Negro poet, LL Cool J said, do it, and do it well. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
so we don't hear that from a pastor. This is starting to become a habit now, Pastor Shy. I think they may have froze me.
Yeah, you a little froze.
Yep, and it's doing that. I don't know what the government is doing
I
and why
don't
the
know.
government hates me.
They tired of you hunching, so they freezing your hunch day.
They can't freeze me hunching because I'm not hunching. Um, you can't. What? How can you freeze what doesn't exist? let me come on. Look, that's a terrible. Let me let me go through here a different way here.
Okay.
It seems like it's doing this to me every day now. That's when you know. That's when you know you're making it when the government is hating on your
Yeah,
show.
yeah. Somebody watching you, man.
I got that feeling.
They, you're not making America great enough for them. They're watching you.
That's probably the biggest issue here. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and
Okay.
come in a whole different way here.
There you go. Okay. Now,
Hello.
hey sis, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Can you hear Cletus? Because Cletus, you're muted. I can't hear you. Hold on.
So let me unmute me. There we go.
Okay.
There we go. I had to unmute me and bring in
Right. Right.
another me. It's
Yeah.
so strange just seeing me over in the corner like that. That is pretty hilarious. I also brought in one of my favorite people, Miss Malira Green. Good morning,
The
Malira. How are
doctor's in the
you?
house.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Now, if y'all don't know who Malira is, Malira, go ahead. You got all kinds of letters: CCTP, a certified counselor of trauma, a certified complex trauma. It's a
There
lot.
we go.
Certified
Yes.
complex trauma professional. You're a licensed clinical social worker. So many
Hmm.
things. A Reiki master. That you do Pokemon. You got so many things you got going on. And she's on her way to Richmond, Virginia right now. So I caught her on the road. So y'all don't try to get her to make eye contact. She's just gonna be paying attention to the road. But let people kind of
Yes.
know some of the stuff that you do, Malira.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Malira. It's always an honor to be here with you guys. I'm a clinical social worker by trade, but there's fancy. I'm serving at heart. I was a therapist, a coach, master, transformative speaker, actually, up to Richmond for Wisconsin as news conference up there. People, man. I literally just heal people,
And that
and I
and
don't
that's
know
what
if I went
that's
out or
what's the
not, but there we go.
no, you did a little bit, but mostly you was all right. So we got you.
Okay.
Mostly you just heal people is what we got. So here's one of the things that we're talking about today. Yesterday we asked a really weird question. It just came up while we were talking yesterday on the show. We were talking about how women don't know how to have the right temperature in the house. Um, that's just not something that women can master, you know. And so we're close to that time where people are going to be in the middle of cutting the heat on, not cutting the heat on. All of those kinds of things are going to be happening. So the big question now, of course, is I ask if somebody comes to bed in the raw, sugar in the raw, huh? Wearing nothing but their birthday suit. Is that an open invitation? Do you feel like, hey, that's a 24/7? Now I know some people are gonna say, no, my body, my choice. I can lay there as naked as a jaybird, and you don't have a right to touch me. Others are gonna say, hey, man, why is it there? Why is it there? Why are you presenting? People will say you want your cake and eat it too. Of course, I want to eat the cake. Now
Yes.
it's cake. So now it came and they were like, well, for men, it don't matter. Men always blah 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 blah. And the prevailing thought I'm getting from women is that men don't need to be romance, loved, and made to feel special. Men are just gonna do it, period. And so
Right.
I wanted to bring in from both perspectives, both professionals, from the male perspective and the female perspective. I don't want to get canceled, so I want to make sure I'm using the correct adjectives. I don't know how to say it. A man and a woman, what they think. So first of all, from Malira, let me see what the thought process is. I know you're a professional, but what is the prevailing thought about women and men as their feelings when it comes towards getting it in?
So I think a big part comes back to communication. Like you need to discuss what is your expectations in that role. Because sometimes we just come in and we just let it happen, and then when it happens, then either one person's regretting, the other person wish they said something. So I always tell people, sex is a conversation you want to have before you have it. So then you can understand. It goes back to, if it's nighttime and you sleep in the nude, I need to know whether or not I can touch you or not. I tell people I'm a female, but I think like a male. So some women,
Oh, the interstate got her. She said she tastes like a man, but not in a Steve Harvey way. Pastor Shy, what you got?
So it's a couple things.
Oh, Malara's back.
Okay,
But
she's
go
back.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Malara. You can finish your point.
Sorry. Yeah. So again, I'm traveling, y'all, so bear with me. But having that conversation, so then you know what the expectation is, I believe is going to be the thing that's going to be most beneficial. Because one thing about it is everybody have an erotic side to them, right? But that's the thing that we don't talk about. In relationships, you talk about the companionship part. Who gonna pay the bills, who gonna walk the dog, who gonna take care of the kids, who gonna do X, Y, and Z. But they don't talk about the intimacy part because people just feel like it should just happen. No, like there literally has to be communication about that so you can set what your expectation is, so now no one party feels like they either being taken advantage of or is moving too fast. But it's just as important as any other conversation.
Pastor Shy, what you got for me?
So it's a few things that comes to mind. One of the things that, of course, nothing is 100%, but we're talking generally. Generally, men are stimulated by sight, right? This is why, when it comes to stuff like strippers, I don't know that women get the same experience out of seeing men sliding down the pole as men do seeing women on the pole.
Are we sliding down the pole? Is that how that works?
Well,
I've never been to a male experience.
That's what I heard in them streets. How about that? That's what I heard in them streets.
I thought it was just sausage being thrown all over the place. It's like being in Golden Corral for breakfast.
You know what I'm saying? But I think that men are visual. We are stimulated naturally by what we see, right? So if that's what stimulates us, seeing a naked body is stimulating, right? It doesn't take as much for me as sometimes it does for my wife. For my wife, while when it comes to this conversation, we talk about sex, we enjoy sex, we have sex for the main course and sex on the side. So the sex ain't a problem. We got 99 problems, but sex ain't one. But at the same time, when it comes to what stimulates us, right? She may need, as the doctor said, some conversation. She may need some intimacy. She may need some romance. She might just need some of that to help her get stimulated. All I need is to see a cheek, right? If a cheek goes past me, I'm hey, let's do it. Now they get y'all back. So I think that's one of the things is that what stimulates us is different. But then also, as what you said, the misnomer is that because something stimulates me, makes you think that that's all I want, when it's not the case, right? Just because I'm stimulated by what I see doesn't mean that I necessarily want who's stimulating me if she's not stimulating me beyond the physicality. Because as a dude, I want to be wanted too, right? As a dude, certain things matter to me that most women don't think would matter to a guy. So I think that it is false to think that men are just ready. We might be easily stimulated, but just being stimulated doesn't mean that we're always ready just to jump in the bed and have sex.
So let me ask you this. So for both, I think the misnomer has always been that it's more of a emotional thing for women and a physical thing for men. Is that something that you've seen, Malara or Pastor Shy, or do you think it's a little bit deeper than that? Because I still think there are men where and look, James just said it. I love to cuddle. Like some people think that that's not a manly thing to do. All that men are doing is going in and dividing and conquering. Is there more to it from the male perspective? And should women look at it like that, as to say, hey, I need to treat him like it's an experience as well? Malara?
Yeah. So it's definitely more to it, and each person is different. Like I have a really good friend of mine that is a male, and sex for him is serious. Like he don't just lay down with any person. He really believes that he's leaving a part of himself, in that space. So he's very, very intentional about who he lay with, what he does. He's only gonna lay with someone that he sees a forever in the future with. So for him, he's like, I'm gonna take my time. Like I'm gonna get to know you. Like, if I'm gonna do this with you, I need to know who you are, because this is gonna be for the long haul. I've never met a male that had that perspective before. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, that's something new, and it made me realize that every male don't have the same mindset. For other men, it may be the stimulation of the visual. But one thing I have learned is most people's desires when it comes to sex is based off of how they was introduced to it. So if your introduction was one of, you had a choice, it was pleasurable or whatever, then for you, you may not need all that stimulation because it's something that you was able to choose. For another person like myself, I have a lot of trauma. So when it comes to that realm, a lot of my mindset is, well, how can I please that person? So I'm the female that's trying to see, well, how can I get that, male to a certain space? So it all depends on literally what is your foundation when it comes to that conversation, and then getting to know that person. Like, each person, the same thing, we have a love language. I wish that Gary Chapman did a sex language, because I feel like everybody has a way of getting stimulated. Everybody has a way of what they need in order to even start. Some people can just jump in. Other people, it may take 15-20 minutes. Sometimes it may take an hour. So we just have to know whoever we're going to lay down with, what do they need to be stimulated, and not be afraid to have that conversation, because everybody's different.
You just hit $1 million. We talking about the World Series. You just hit a home run on that one. What is your sex language? That is an interesting thought, because I believe the prevailing thought, and of course everybody is a individual, right? But I think that the prevailing thought in the mindsets of most people is that men's love language, sex language, is home run or strikeout. That's it. Either I'm getting all of it or I'm getting nothing, and so I'm ready. My bat is ready. I'm ready to enter the batter's box. But then we start talking about the prevailing thought about women is that women are playing station to station. They want you to hit a single, a double, a triple. They want you to go through all the bases. The men, we ain't trying to get on first base and take it slow. We just trying to get home. If we can get home in one hit, then we good. Where the ladies like, let's start with this, that, and the third. So I got a question for you, Pastor Shy. When you talk, of course, to couples and people in relationships, of course, when you see men come through, is there a negative stigma to a man? Is there a negative stigma to a man who is like, hey man, I don't want to just rush in there and do it. I want to be romanced. I want to be loved. There is more of a connection. I know some men who feel like Malira said, maybe not to the point that Malira saying, where everything is, and of course we know about the soul ties and connections and things of that nature.
Right.
But some men who feel like sex ain't just sex. Some people feel like sex is a making love type thing. So it's an expression of my feelings for you. Now, there are moments where you can be, okay, I just saw you walk by and there was a cheek. I saw a cheek and now I got to be a man. Do you think that there are a lot of men out there who feel like there's more of an expression to it, Pastor Shy? And is there a stigma for a man who feels that way?
So it is, because, I saw your title, right? And the title was, how does it feel? A title for me is, what is the purpose of why we do it? Or what does it do? Right? Because how does it feel? That's the easy thing. That's the part that really requires no thinking. But as the doctor said, when you start to really understand that there's more to this than this feeling, there are consequences behind it. The consequences will make you think differently about who you lie down with, right? Because that's a part of understanding that sex is more than just about these moments of pleasure. It's also about what this pleasure has the possibility to produce. And so when you start to think about what can be produced behind this sex, it makes you slow down and want more than just the feeling. And then even with men, again, men want to be wanted, right? And so sometimes, you'd be surprised how a man feels when he's turned down by somebody he loves, right? By the woman he's turned on by. And he, like you said, another thing that's a big turn on for me is honor, right? More than physicality, what really attracts me to my wife is the way she loves me back, right? The way that she esteems me, the way she builds me up, man, that stuff is sexy. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, one of the sexiest things that my wife ever says to me, every once in a while, I'll ask her to do something, and she's in another room, and I'm like, baby, can you take care of this for me? She's like, yes, sir. I was like, what? Did she call me sir? And all of a sudden, I love it when you call me Big Papa. Throw your hands in the air, you play. You understand what I'm saying? So it is, there are layers to what's attractive. And if you stop just as the physical is it matters, but there are different things that matter to men that society doesn't say matter to us, because all they show you is the dog side of a man. They don't show you the whole side of a man.
Cause so that's a good question, right? I have a friend of mine, and it's weird that a friend of mine, and I'm honored to be in that space with this friend. It doesn't normally happen because I don't think men talk about their sexual issues amongst men, right? You never, men. First of all, men are never virgins. I'm about the only man that's comfortable in his virginity. It don't matter what age you meet a man at. You can meet him at 5 years old. Be like, you a virgin? Absolutely not. I've been getting it. I've been getting it since it got me. You'd be like, wait a minute. You at a certain age, there's a stigma of being a virgin, and there's never any problems, right? It don't matter what kind of sexual problems you have. Men will be like, hey, man, me and my wife getting it in every night, 6 times a day off the chandelier. You be like, oh, okay, cool. Because that's the bravado that you have to bring with it. But I had a friend of mine who was talking to me about an issue that he has and something that he doesn't like. His wife, and much like Malira says, at times has a very man-like mentality, right? And she'll hit him with, they'll be in the bed and she'll be like, yo, come get this real quick. And he'll be like, oh, no. Romance me, finesse me. And it made him feel like, am I not a man because I want her to and I'm not saying you got to set the mood, bring out the candles and pour the wine every time, but he prefers to be like, yo, let's have some foreplay, kiss and touch and things of that nature. And sometimes she just like, yo, come get this real quick. Like, I'm going to bed, come get some. If you want something, better come get it before I close the kitchen. So, Malira, is that a negative stereotype of men? Is there something wrong with this brother for wanting that?
No, it's not. And like I said, like.
And is there anything wrong with the lady? Because you don't usually hear women be like,
so
hey,
you got
6 minutes.
Listen. So I'm like that lady, and that's one of the biggest challenges. And y'all know I'm very transparent. So people know I'm recently separated, and for me, that's like the hardest thing.
I didn't know that. Did you see his face real quick?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'm recently separated, and it is what it is. But the biggest piece is I do think like a dude because of my trauma. So when the moon come out, it's like, oh, okay, that's what it's time for me to do. So because of that, I have to be aware of this trauma response. So it's nothing wrong with the female. But what I will say, what is wrong is when we don't acknowledge that that's how we speak sexually.
Right.
Because again, whatever I do next, whether, God reconnects or God goes to another space, but I know I don't want to go into my next relationship acting like I'm the one in control. And it's not saying that the male is not in control, but sometimes in the bedroom, women bring so much sexual trauma to the space, and so does the men, that you have to acknowledge, why am I this way? Sometimes it's acknowledging, why do I need it this way? So then y'all can come together and build your own. Because a lot of the times what ends up happening is we bring into the bedroom the people that we were with before.
Absolutely.
We don't bring into the bedroom just you and I. So whatever, you got to relearn that other person. And then that man, nothing's wrong with that. But like I said, I didn't meet a man like that until I met one of my friends. And as he was talking, I'm like, yo, that makes sense. But I never knew a man that wanted for someone to experience that with him in that way. Like, we gonna slow down. We gonna do this. We gonna do that. Like, men think that way. And I think my challenge is y'all need to start having those conversations. Sometimes the older you get, stuff don't work the way it used to work. Have that conversation so that you don't feel like you're by yourself. And then with the women, some women are extra sexual, but it's demonized. If you are a female that want to say, hey, I want to have sex every day. if somebody says that, they're gonna look at you like, why are you crazy? But that's the whole reason why I became a certified sex informed therapist, because I was like, I want to normalize something that is natural, and we actually need to talk about it, not just religify it. Like, I know they say don't have sex before marriage. I know that. But tell me the why. Tell me, what does that represent? Tell me, what is sex? Like Pastor Shy said, like, sex is bigger than just that temporary act. Like, you are literally laying down and connecting with each other. So if I'm going to do that with you, I need to know who you are, what we're doing this for. It's bigger than just this temporary moment. So I think the problem is not who wants more sex than the next person. The problem is, when we are doing that, what is the purpose that both of us is doing it for?
Yeah.
Nice. And I get concerned sometimes for the ladies. And Pastor Shy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you're way more into the counseling session than I am. I don't get into that really well, but there are a lot of women who feel. One of the things that I really want both people in these relationships to know is that sex is good for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times women want sex much as men do. Men want it. It's an equal thing. You see a lot of times women, and I don't want them to feel like, this is one of the things I want to free women of. And I'm not a woman at all, never been one. I don't even go to Atlanta on weekends. I want women to feel free of the thought process that you have to sex him up or you're going to lose him, whatever. He just got to have it. He's like,
right.
I don't just give him some. Some women have a mindset that they have to give men sex like food. Like, if I don't feed him, if he ain't getting this Chinese food, if he ain't getting this cat, then what is he gonna do? Pastor Shy, what do you tell women as far as in a relationship it should be equal, both of them wanting each other and not just let me give it to him so they can get it?
So what the doctor said, I want to really connect to what she just said, because I think it's more important what people understand. I myself was introduced to sex at a very young age, right? And it was traumatic. And because of the type of sex I was introduced to, when you hear me talk about how promiscuous I was in my early formative years, it was really because I was trying to find my identity, because sex it confused me, right? I went through a season of trying to figure out, am I gay? Am I this? Am I that? So sex was a way of me trying to find who I was, because I was introduced to it at a wrong age. But when I got married, again, as the doctor said, I had all of those images and all those experiences that I brought to this marriage. And then now I'm trying to put all that pressure on this one person to fulfill all of the images. Well, to answer your question, fast forward, the way we overcame these things was we had real conversations about where we came from, what we expected. And then because of our relationship, we were both willing to make the adjustment to find out, number one, what each other needed, and the willingness we were willing to go to make sure that each other was satisfied, right? So again, in a situation like what the doctor said, if there's a man in her life and she's saying, listen, this is my desire, right? I like to be intimate often and always. Well, for him, if he's committed as a husband, and this is going to be my life partner, a part of that commitment is not just doing what pleases you, it's doing what pleases the person you love. Because why be in relationship with somebody that you don't want to please? It's selfish to only want yourself to be pleased, right? So I think, like she said, no, men, if you have that conversation, then you're not falling into speculation, right? So you're sitting there thinking, if I don't do this, he's going to leave. How do you know? Are you going by the conversation you had? Are you going by what your girlfriend said? Are you going by what little whoever the next little rapper is, because they all little somebody, the next little said? Or did you really sit down with the person you're going to do life with and say, listen, this is how I feel. I'm a little insecure because my mindset says that if you don't get sex as much as you want, you're going to leave me. Is that true? And that person can tell you, no, it's not that I'm going to leave you, because you'll be surprised at how attractive it is just to find out somebody cares about what you care about.
Wow, that's dope. So I ain't gonna keep you guys on long. I know Malara's driving all this. Let's try to come up with a tip. How do we with a tip? All right. So how do we balance it, right? How do we balance it? Let's say John is a freakaholic. Like John wants it every night, but Mary is a twice a week at best. Um where does the compromise come in, and how do you compromise? Uh Tommy's S&M. He's in the S&M, and Michelle is all missionary all the time. How do you find those balances, and do you find that people in relationships who are not sexually equally yoked can survive, or is that a hard thing to come up with? And I'll start with Malara again.
So that is actually a really great question. So what I love to tell people is y'all have to come to a compromise that both people are cool with. So if one person wants it every day and the other person wants it 2 or 3 times a week, then settle on 3 times a week. And you say, hey, before Tuesday, we're going to have to do this. Before Wednesday and before Sunday. Pick the days. And then when it comes that day, you say, hey, did we do that? No. Like sometimes it has to, people got to understand, it has to be intentional. We really rely sometimes on sex to just be the spontaneous thing all the time. One thing that I've
The interstate is tearing Malara up.
Yeah, I see it.
We're gonna give Malara a quick second to get more solid because of the interstate. The interstate is a hater.
Yes.
What you got, Pastor Shy, real quick? Because she was saying you got to be intentional about.
She said you got to be intentional, and I agree with that, because here's something you said in the beginning, and you said even in church that people don't like to talk about sex. Well, there's 2 things that we don't talk about enough in sex, and it's the 2 things everybody wants, is sex and money, right? And those are the 2 things that we need. But then both of those things don't happen unintentionally, right? And so when it comes to getting involved with somebody, a part of good counseling, or even, watch this, guys, good dating. Forget you're not counseling to get married. You're just dating each other. At some point, when that dating relationship looks like it's going to move into an intimate relationship, you need to have those conversations before that happens. Because once it happens, now you are expecting them to do everything because they gave you the main thing, versus saying, before we get into this, let's have some realistic conversations about our expectations, right? Because then what that does, it lets you know whether this is the person I want to be with. So if Freaky Freddy hooks up with Wild Wilhelmina, they fine. But when Freaky Freddy hooks up with Sanctified Sally, Houston, we gonna have a problem. And so I think that as grown folks, we need to have grown conversations about things that can destroy or build our relationships, and sex is one of them.
And Malara just texted me. She lost a strong enough signal to stay on. She wanted to thank everybody for having her on. And of course, she's just a jewel. She can get on anytime. That came out wrong too. She's welcome on the show at any time. Last thing that I want to talk about, and one of the things that we've been discussing, is one of the main misconceptions I think that men and women have. And men, from the men that I talk to, I know this is a huge thing for them. Intimacy and sex, 2 different things. Intimacy and sex are not the same thing. Sex can be a part of intimacy,
right?
But in its own, it is not intimacy. It is not. And so many men, I've heard a lot of women, and they'll say stuff like, man, the intimacy is not there. He's not being intimate. And the guy's like, dog, I'm giving it to her. I'm getting it to her every night. How can she come out and say there is no intimacy? I'm giving her the business. Help me understand, help men and even some women understand the difference between intimacy and sex.
So, 50 Cent said, I'm into sex, baby. I'm not into making love. I wanted to, right? Here's the thing, is that sex does not require love or care for the person you're having sex with, right? Men can take their bodies places that their hearts don't travel, right? I can drop this wood over here and leave my heart at home, right? Because to me, it's not about intimacy, it's about the sex. Intimacy says that I love the person I'm having sex with. And I love them enough not just to have sex with them, but to make sure that they are enjoying the sex themselves. Because I think one of the misconceptions that men do is that we assume that because this girl says she liked it, that every girl ought to like it. And we don't take the time to find out what the next girl likes. One of the most dangerous and scary conversations, and you'll love this, Cletus, that I had with my wife. This was 10 years into marriage. And for some strange reason, I just felt like asking her this question. It really was, is it still good to you? Right? Now, I thought it was a rhetorical question because for 10 years, she ain't never complained. But in that moment, she got quiet. So I turned the radio down. I said, maybe you didn't hear what I said. I said, is it still good to you? And she got quiet. And she said, can I be honest? My. Brother, she began to tell me all the things that I thought was turning her on that was actually turning her off. And in that moment, I had to make a choice. Do I want sex or intimacy? Because if I didn't change what I did, to her, it was just sex. But when I was willing to make the adjustments to make sure the sex was pleasurable for both of us, that's when it turned into intimacy.
And I think that here's one thing that I know. Everybody changes, right? And what I enjoyed at 16 may not be what I enjoy at 21, which may not be what I enjoy at 26. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think especially when you start talking about marriage and any kind of couple relationship, you should have those status interviews. Hey man, are we still good? Do you still enjoy getting your toes sucked? Because I'm not even a fan of it. I was doing it because you liked it. Like you'll find out, like there'll be so many. I still think people take sexual burdens into their relationship. Yeah. Some people are doing stuff like, listen, the song say, was it strong enough? Was I long enough? Like all of these, like these are literal questions I think you should be asking.
Yeah.
Like at some point in time, and I know a lot of women, when they care about their man, a lot of times they don't tell them about the shortfalls that they have in their sexual relationship.
Right.
And then women are living a contemptuous sexual life with a man because they just didn't tell him this is what I want. Right. And vice versa. It's some stuff that dudes are hearing their homeboys talk about happen. They watching it on a movie. They saw it in there and they like, man, if I could get her from the back, she did what to your what? Backwards?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you really want, you be like, man, I want that. But you ain't never gone to her and said, hey, flip it around, smack it up, flip it, like any of these things, because you find yourself in a position where you're afraid to make it seem like you're ungrateful for. Dudes be like, listen, I'm just happy that I'm getting these 3 times a week, dog. You got to be missionary. I ain't gonna ruin it and make her mad. And she cut me down today, dog. Right. And you find there have been people all the time. I heard a guy one time, and he was like, man, he went somewhere and they had meatloaf. And he ordered the meatloaf, and the meatloaf was great. And he had meatloaf. He was like, man, this meatloaf was amazing. And the wife was like, I thought you didn't like meatloaf. But it wasn't that he didn't like meatloaf. He didn't like her meatloaf.
Right.
So how you presenting that meatloaf? Just sit there and have these grown-up conversations. If you're grown enough to have sex, you got to be grown enough to have conversations. Absolutely. And say, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong?
Right.
And you got to be honest. Now, men can't set themselves up.
Right.
Men will set themselves up. So, am I the best you ever had? Hey, listen, be prepared. be prepared. It's questions like people say, what's your number? They just had the other day, they asked the lady, she was like 35, and Shannon Sharp was like, drop the mic on her. But those are the numbers. Those are the numbers. You gotta really be honest, even in the way that you handle it. Now my friend LaTroy is here. Okay. And LaTroy is just that who do we go with? Freaky Freddy
or Wild Wilhelmina?
And why? Yeah, he's both.
Okay.
He's both Freaky Freddy and Wild Wilhelmina. Okay. So we gotta watch him. I appreciate all the stuff that you brought to the table on the show today, Pastor Shy. Man, I think it was great. Snoop says, I ain't worried about if she's the best, if I'm the best she's had. I just want to be the best me. And I think that everybody has to make sure y'all ask each other those questions.
Right.
Like, what can I do better? Is there something I can do better? Is there a way? Like, those are legitimate questions, right? What? Give me this real quick, Pastor Shy. The top 3 questions you should ask your spouse about your sex life.
Do you like sex? What kind of sex do you like? And how often do you want to do what you like?
Top 3. Do you like it?
What kind do you like?
What kind do you like?
And how often?
Yeah. Y'all got to ask those questions because the disconnect can be there.
Bonus question. And are you willing to do what I like? How about that? Let me throw that in there too. Make it.
And are you willing to do what I like?
Yeah.
Yo. LaTroy say it's the kind for me. Not, but that's where there's a disconnect in a lot of relationships, right? Because a lot of the stigmas that we have sexually, people feel stigmas. Like, a lot of women feel like if they like it rough, you're not gonna think the same of her. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with a dude. He'd be like, hey man, listen, I like to choke somebody every now and again. Oh my God, I didn't know I married a choker. Just,
Listen, Lord have mercy. And listen, let me say this real quick. Guys, have realistic expectations and don't just let what you see cause you to think this is what it is. Perfect example. A couple years ago, I'm not going to say the artist, but they had a song about, and I give you the initials of the song, WAP. That's all I'm going to say, WAP. Now, what's amazing to me is that these women both had men who cheated on them, which lets you know that having a WAP wasn't enough because they couldn't keep their men. Stop letting these images outside of the person you're with put expectations on the person that you love.
Listen, because I'm gonna tell you now, man. Once I break into it, I don't know this to be a fact. But I'm 40 years old now. If I ever get married, she can't expect Tank. I'm not coming in there. It's not all night long. I'm just telling you now. I'm not lighting a bunch of candles. I ain't got time for that. And LaTroy, no, LaTroy, we're not gonna.
I can't see the comments.
So I'm glad you can't see this comment because LaTroy just killed the whole show. It is hilarious. I'm about to text you what he said.
Yeah.
But I'll just say this: LaTroy is married to a man, so he says WAP ain't got nothing. He can't do nothing with WAP, but a TAB is all they need. He said TAB is better than WAP. Look, I'm about to die laughing at LaTroy. LaTroy is that guy, man. He's hilarious. I appreciate you, Pastor, because I didn't know LaTroy was gonna come in.
Listen, good man. This all good.
No, I'm not apologizing for Troy. No, I'm just saying
I can't.
Troy's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm just.
And I think we got to be open about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna ask you this. No, I'm not. I ain't gonna put you on the spot like that one. Because that's an on the spot question. But let me ask you this. I'll ask you this so you don't have to talk about yourself personally.
Absolutely. Okay.
But in the Malara's back. Look at Malara. Yay.
I tried.
Malara, real quick. I don't know if you heard Pastor Shy when he talked about them. 3 big questions that each couple should ask each other sexually. Pastor Shy said, give me your 3 important questions.
It was, do you like sex? What kind do you like? How often do you like it? And then I gave a bonus. Are you willing to do what I like?
I like those questions actually.
Malara's like, I think that's it. Those are pretty good. What's understood ain't got to be explained. But do you have a different question that you would have to ask, or that you think is important that any couple ask each other?
I would say, like, what is your importance level of sex? Because for some people, it's not that important. So I need to kind of know how I can match your energy, if you will. And I think that's helpful. Another thing is, how far are you willing to go? Like, you want for your partner to be the one to live out your fantasies with you. Like, the bedroom, the Bible says it's supposed to be where you explore, you know?
Come on here.
So I need to know, how far are you willing to vibe with me as I'm trying to get to, you know, my point. And then lastly, I would say, talk about your trauma. Like, I know that might not be sexy to talk about in the bedroom, but it's
Good.
important for me to know what your sexual history is. Like, I was exposed to sex at 3. I need to share that with that person. I've been sexually assaulted multiple times. I need to share that with that person, because just in case I am triggered, they need to understand, don't take that personal. Like, that's my own issues. So those will be the 3 things that I will talk about question wise.
Man, that's dope. I wanted to bring this question in because LaTroy's here. And this may be a whole episode. I need to have pastors on and somebody like yourself that's a trained professional, Malira. I might need to have y'all on. At this point in time, regardless of how we feel about how a person's personal feelings are going to be about it, how a pastor personally feels about it, or how whoever feels about it, at this time, man, this society has become way more open to and more accepting of same-sex relationships.
It has.
That's just the fact of life.
Right.
Where we thought it was taboo at one point in time, now that's just the reality. And people are able to live their life however they want to live it. How are pastors handling now having to do marriage counseling for men and men compared to men? Are men having to change? Are pastors having to change their mindsets on how to do it, or are they just putting up the brick wall and be like, we ain't? Is there a hindrance? Is there something? And even you, Malira, as a counselor, as a certified counselor, are you having to change how you learn and think? Because now it's not about men and women see things differently. It's men and men see things differently. LaTroy we say tab is better than WAP. He said a tight bootay is better than a wet. We got what we're going with. So how do you change your mindset when you're counseling? Let's speak just from a pastor, not from a pastor's perspective, just from a counselor's perspective. I'm a married guy to another guy, Pastor Shy. Yeah. Can I listen to Marriage is Dope? Can I understand Marriage is Dope as well? Or do you have to change your perspective?
So here's what I tell people, right? Is that I take from my experience, right? So my experience has been a man-woman experience. Gotcha. So I let people know up front that what you're going to hear from me, I'm speaking from my experience, right? So you're going to hear most of that. There are some relational principles that are just true relationally, but then there are some principles for me that like most men don't understand what it's like to have a monthly cycle.
So I don't even think we should say most men. I think that.
Okay, I mean, you know, you.
Well, unless you're going, yeah, okay. Now we are talking transgender, right? So you're correct.
There are certain things that my wife goes through that in this marriage is specific because I'm married to a woman, so I can't speak to that because I've never been married to a man. Is anybody invited to come sit? Absolutely. But once again, I don't have the caveat that I may not be the most expertise person to help you in an area that I have no experience. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. That's why I bring you guys on to talk about sex, because as a virgin, I don't have the expertise to talk about what's going on.
Take my head down, because if you say virgin one more time, I'm getting off this phone.
That was a perfect example. I'm not just talking about the record label. So Malira, as a certified counselor, are you counselors having to change? Are y'all having to do continuing? Oh, we done lost Malira. She's still there. Are y'all having to change and do continuing learning to try to figure out how to address the different issues that we're now having?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So real quick before my internet go wonky again. No? Yes, no?
I got you. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So real quick. So for me, my MO is I give people the love that Jesus would give. And that doesn't mean that I condone your lifestyle. It doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and tell you what to do with your same-sex spouse. But what I am going to do is create a safe place for you to come in and have a conversation about what your problem is. And I'm going to give you a human perspective.
Absolutely.
And you're going to know, like, I'm a type person where, and again, for me, I'm a little different. So with my sexual trauma from 3 to 13, it was all women. So I struggled with my sexuality young and didn't know what it was. So I have a more openness when it comes to people and their choices without judgment. It's, I have my own sin, you know? So when I work with my clients, I do have homosexual clients that talk about their relationships. I look at it blankly as a relationship. Because what I'm not going to do is make you feel uncomfortable or make you feel like I'm trying to change your lifestyle. That's not my role. Like, it's not my job to put you in heaven or hell. But you know I'm Christian. Like, one of my clients is atheist and homosexual. People ask me, how the heck do you counsel this person? And now that I'm about to discharge, he doesn't cringe anymore when I say Bible verses. Like, I look at it as that I show up for you. You might look at life the way that I view life. But if I shut you down or shut you out, you're going to further not want to be in that certain lifestyle. So that's kind of how I do my counseling. I just look at them as a human being having a human experience. It's not my job to judge. And I'm going to give you a response to what your problem is where you are. So we talk person to person, not male to male, male to female. I'm going to give you the same exact counseling that I would give someone else. And then, of course, if you know that I'm a Christian counselor and you open up that door, then we can explore what does the Bible say marriage is. But I'm not going to demonize anybody for the lifestyle that they choose to live. I just give them, how can you be human in the relationship that you have?
How can you be human and be in a relationship? That's my first question. Anyway, that's amazing. I love you guys, man. You guys, somebody said y'all need to write the what is your sex love language? What is your sex language book? Y'all need to work on that. If y'all do it, I just want 4.3% of all the sales. That's all I want. Okay. 4.3%. That's all I want.
I'm here for it, Pastor Shy. I got
Let's go. Listen, I'll send you my notes. We'll send you.
Yeah, just get a Google document. Y'all can get that thing going. That book comes out, man. We publishing it, and we finna take over the world. Hey, man, I love you guys. You guys are great. Pastor Shy. Oh, well, let's get Malira before she runs out of internet on the road. Tell everybody where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Yes, so you can find me at www.maliratransforms.com. I have my own online course now up there, experience, and you use the code 40% off, and for people to become the best version of themselves. We should not go into 2024 the same way to make it work. Follow me on IG at Malira Transforms, on YouTube Transforming with Malira. And if you don't get nothing from this, y'all talk about your desires. There is nothing wrong to talk about your desires with your partner. I'd rather you talk about your desires than go out there and get your desires filled somewhere else because you didn't open up enough to who you were supposed to have been with. So
I'm just gonna start talking about my desires to people in the street. Just walk up to somebody at McDonald's. But let me tell you something. You know what I really would like? I'm probably end up in jail, but it's gonna be a good time. MaliraTransforms.com, because you kind of went in and out a little bit. You've got the Metamorphosis Experience right now is your work. I don't want to say the wrong word for it.
It's a whole online course.
Online course. And what is the code to get the discount?
Use the code GROVE, GROVE, GROVE.
There it is. Malira Green, man. I'm gonna let you be safe on the road, man. 64 don't be fair sometimes. All right, that's Malira right there, y'all. And Pastor Shy, let them know all about the Pastor Shy-ness.
Listen, so the main thing, guys, I want you to do yourself and do us a big favor. Go to our website, dopemarriage.com. Please hit us up on our YouTube page. The reason I say go to the website, because you can find all our social media. We do marriage counseling, we do marriage seminars, but we just recently launched in the last month a podcast, right? And it's called Marriage is Dope. We want you to go there. There's 4 episodes there right now that will bless your life on YouTube and Facebook. We're doing an episode next week entitled What's Not So Funny About Will and Jada. right? Next week we're doing an episode. Comes on every Monday night at 7:30, which you can go back and watch the previous episodes. So that's the main thing, guys. Just please do me a favor. I would love to have you check us out, follow us, and then hit us up. Let us know. We answer questions. We'll use some of your topics, your questions as topics on our show. I think you'll enjoy it, and I think it'll be a blessing to your life. That's Dope Marriage, singular.com.
There we go. And I got to figure out, Lakeisha said, what about the unmarried, the single folk? What are we doing for them? We'll figure something out for y'all. That's me, Lakeisha. I watch the show just because I think that, at one point in time, I might end up being married. So why not learn something while I'm waiting? So there you go. Learn something while I'm waiting so I can go in and be unfair. I'll be prepared before it even happens. Man, I appreciate you coming in, bro. It was a great show, man. Y'all always bring something amazing to the show. I love it, man. Y'all make Wednesdays worthwhile and not just wild. So I appreciate you, man. Tell your wife I said, hey, man.
I will, sir. I will.
She got the sunniest disposition. His wife is scary. You ever met somebody so nice, but you also know that if it goes the wrong way, it'll probably cut you 67 ways till Sunday. That's exactly why you love her good side and you want to stay on it. She's so sweet. She's so amazing. But you be like, yeah, I ain't going to mess around over here.
Yeah, she is from Chicago. Don't fool yourself.
Man, appreciate you, Pastor Shy, man.
Yeah, bro.
Absolutely. Hey, man, it's been another great episode, man. Another amazing Wednesday. We had a good time. I did. If you didn't, then check yourself. Get your life together. I enjoy myself. We'll be back on tomorrow, man. Listen, it's a Hunch Day Wednesday. You know what it's about. Make somebody feel good today. That somebody just happens to be you. It's worth it. You deserve it. I love y'all. We'll be back again tomorrow. Lord willing, the creek don't rise.
Kick your shoes off, take a load off. Don't go nowhere till the show's off. Oh, you know it's gonna be a movie when you got Cletus Cassidy on your TV. Yeah, already know Mr. Funny Man. Coming to you and making you laugh again. Started off on the radio, now we got the Cletus Cassidy Show. Funny Man, coming to you and making you laugh again.